So let's look at our Priest of Iona. Power equal to the number of creatures in your party. So 1 mana 1/2, 1 mana 2/2. Sounds good. At the beginning of your combat on your turn, if you have a full party, the target creature gets... Holy moly. You would probably always play this card. If you had a way to get a full party, you will 100% play this card. And I think there's a good chance this is a 1 mana 3/2 in the right deck. Its weakness is obviously that white doesn't have wizards, but obviously blue and red have tons of wizards. So if you're playing white and you're playing aggro, which you probably are, if it's white doesn't have removal and it doesn't have endgame. It doesn't have good removal. It doesn't have... So, yeah, it's great. Luminarch Aspirant. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a counter on target. Discard. What? Wait. At the beginning of a combat on your turn. What? Yeah, this card's great. It's not like landfall, put a counter. It can target itself. It doesn't say another creature. Like, what? Always play this. I mean, you don't splash for it. Again, the cards you splash for need to get on turn 6. Although this card is debatably great on turn 6. This card is probably good on turn 6. Yeah, this is actually probably a splashable card. Flying, each player can cast more than one spell each turn. Basic lands are... Okay, you'd play this just for the fact that it's a 3 mana 2/3. It's pretty rare for white to play more than one spell on a turn. I don't think this will really hurt you that much. The non-basic land part obviously doesn't matter. The only non-basics that don't already come into play tapped are all rares, right? They're not going to play before that anyways. I think you probably play this just because it's a 3 mana 2/3 flyer. I know earlier I said in the comments section that I would not play the 3 mana 2/2 flyer. I would probably play this one if I was looking for this type of... If I just wanted a 2/3 flyer. The stat line is great. Like, if it was 3 mana 2/3 no text, you would... Flying, like French Vanilla 3 mana 2/3, you would always play this card, right? If you're playing white, you wouldn't splash for it, but you always played if you're white. But the question is whether... If the downside would hurt you, don't play it. I doubt it'll hurt you more than your opponent. And this is a really hard card to evaluate because you don't see your opponent's hand, so you don't know how much it's hurting them. Maul of the Skyclaves. When Maul of the Skyclaves enters the battlefield, attach a dark creature you control. A crit creature gets +2/+2. Oh, yeah, obviously it's a bomb. You just play it. Always. Like a win condition. Sticks around. Just always play this if you're white. You wouldn't splash for it just because double white equip cost. But, always play it. Darkclave Apparition enters the battlefield, exile to 1 target non-land, non-token permanent you don't control with converted mana cost 4 or less. So it's like a super smother, sure. 4 or less. When it leaves the battlefield, the exiled card's owner creates an XX blue illusion creature token, where X is the converted mana cost. Okay, so it comes into play, you like exile a 3/3 or two, like a 3 cost like 3/3 or 4 cost like 4/4 or something. And then when it leaves play, they get it back. You would always play this card if you're white. You have to be very, very careful because obviously your opponent can have an instant to remove this, and then they get like an untapped blocker to kill something else that's attacking. Got to be careful. It's just. I would imagine this is the type of card that's a lot worse than it looks. I think this card is just worse than the 5 mana exile a non-land permanent that was in uncommons. The Journey to Oblivion. I think the card's a lot worse than that. So that's kind of where the evaluation is for it. Because it's limited to cards that cost 4 or less, and the illusion that they're getting is likely better than the card you're removing. Yeah, it looks like if you're playing white-blue and you have some like unsummoned type effects, like Into the Royal, like maybe the downside of this doesn't hurt you as much. Or if you're playing a deck that's like a flying-based deck, and you don't really care if they ditch this because the creature that they're getting isn't going to be blocking, then maybe. Yeah, I hate playing cards like this. That's exactly right. I would rather just never deal with this. This is too stressful. It just opens up like a point of failure that I don't want to deal with. Eldar Retreat. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, choose one. Create a 2/2 white cat beast token. Put a counter on each creature you control. The creature. Okay, yeah, okay. Unbeatable, like random unbeatable rare. I would imagine that if you're playing this card, you can probably play 4 lands after this. So what does that mean? It means you're getting 3 2/2s, and then you're putting a counter on all of them. So you're getting 3 3/3s. It's what's likely going to happen, is what this card is. So Those who have played Gelatinous Genesis in the previous like double masters format, which was like XX green, make XX tokens. It was most often played for 7 mana to make 3/3/3s. That card was like pretty bomb. You like always splash for it. This is the same thing. You probably always splash for this, and you're gonna lose to it a lot and taste it. Yeah. And I'm just talking about the card as if it is just on its own gonna make 3/3/3s. That's not. I mean, you can have other creatures. I'm just talking about like the bare minimum output of this card is just gonna be 4/3/3s, 3/3/3s or 4/3/3s. So yeah, it's great. Squad Commander enters the battlefield. Create a 1/1 white core creature token for each creature in your party. Make 2 1/1s. That's pretty good. 4 mana, 3/3. Make pair 1/1s. At the beginning of combat of your turn, if you have a full party of creatures you control. Okay, that is not gonna happen. But as far as rares go, this is like a pretty, yeah, it's whatever. If you had enough varied creature types, I can imagine splashing for this card. Because it's at the beginning of combat trigger, so you can actually play this and have it like trigger immediately. Yeah, this card's good. Always play it if you're white. So there's really not much to say about it. Because like again, this isn't draft where you're comparing the power level of this card to other cards. This is just like, and if you're playing white, play this. Would you splash for this? That's kind of the answer. That's kind of the question you got to answer yourselves when you evaluate these cards. Do you if it's got a single mana in its mana cost, do you splash for it? Squad, Felidar Retreat, 100%. Always splash for this card. Squad Commander, I'd have to evaluate the pool to see if like I need a warrior. If I have, obviously it would be a green deck probably that I would splash this in if I was going to splash it. But I think if you're playing like blue-black or blue-red, obviously you wouldn't do that. I can imagine splashing this in a green-red deck or a green-blue deck or a green-black deck, totally. Legion Angel. Enters the battlefield, you may reveal, whatever. It's 4 mana, 4/3 flyer, you're going to play it. So, that has no text box. It's whatever. Okay. Onto Inversion. Destroy all online permanents. Yeah, you would always play this card. Generally, in Limited, you would never play Rats. But this is the one you would always play. So, I wouldn't even feel bad if I played this turn 1. I'm like, yeah, what are you going to do about it? Yeah, this is the type of... The problem I have with Rats is that they're almost always unplayable in Sealed and people always play them. Because they're not good when you're ahead and they're not good when the board stays even. So they're only good when you're behind. And this is a card that if you're behind, you're already dead by the time you can cast it. So... This is more of a reset button. This is more of a like, oh, once you draw it, you can like plan around it. Right? If you have like 5 or 6 9s in play, like, okay, this is our plan. We're going to stop playing our piddly dink creatures we're playing. We're just going to like, okay. Yeah. And in this format, your opponent's going to think like, oh, my opponent's keeping lands in their hand because landfall, right? So it wouldn't be unexpected for you to have 3 or 4 cards in your hand and have them all be lands, and because you don't play anything, right? So I think this card is quite good. You would always play it 100% of the time. It's probably worse than a basic plains and like a white-red aggro deck, but I think otherwise you just always play it. Tazri, Beacon of Unity. Cost 1 less to cast for each creature in your party. Yeah, okay. What? 3 mana 4/6, 4 mana 4/6. Okay. And then it's like 8 mana. It might end up being 7 or 6. Probably 6 mana. It's gonna be 6 mana. Like draw a creature, draw a card, draw a creature. Whatever, dude. Yeah, obviously you always play this. So, do you splash for it? Yeah, probably. Marius Call. Yeah, not much to say about this one. Create 2/4/4 white angel warrior creature tokens with flying. Non-angel creatures you control gains. Yeah, you would just always play this. So, if you're playing white, you're playing it. You don't splash for it, obviously, but it's a triple white. Not much to say. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you and that player each gain that much life. At the beginning of your instep, if you have at least 15 more life than your starting life total, each player doesn't need attack this turn, loses the game. Imagine you like played like a 1/4 into a 3/3, and they're like, so they're at 17, you're at like 19, you're at 22. You play those, and like you attack, they go up to 21. You play like a 3/4 flyer. You attack again. So what I guess is interesting is that this doesn't have lifelink. It's a triggered ability. It's a triggered ability that gains life. So if you get this lifelink, it's actually like quad strike, right? You would probably always play this card. You freeze. Okay, so yeah, you freeze their life total, and you're instead adding to your own. And this card looks like this card doesn't have to connect. Okay. It says at the beginning of your end step, if you have at least 15 more life than your starting life total, each player Angel of Destiny attacked. It doesn't have to have connected. So if they block it, they still die. No, this card's great. You would always play it. Yeah. Your opponent can't even attack into a 2/6 double strike, right? 2/6 flying double strike. And the thing is, the thing with Angel of Destiny is actually, it's a triggered ability. So imagine they're at 6 life, and you attack them for 8, including this. You attack this for like this. You attack with Angel of Destiny and like a pair of 3/3s. They actually die because they would go up to 8 from the first strike, and then they would take 8. And then they would be at 0, and there would be a triggered ability on the stack for them to gain 8 life, but they're already dead. You might play this post-combat a lot. Yeah, I think you would actually play this post-combat a non-zero amount of the time. Like, actually, probably more than 50% of the time you play this post-combat. But what I think really pushes this card potentially over the edge is how busted that 3-drop is for white. That 3-mana 1/4. Like, this card is freaking busted. I would imagine if you just have an opening of, like, that dude or dudette into Angel of Destiny, just like... I feel like it'd be pretty easy to win from that spot. I'm on board. Yeah, and that's what I was saying earlier. There's the Attended Healer, which can actually give it lifelink, which would make it quad link, right? Because it doesn't actually have lifelink. It just has a triggered ability that gives life. So if you give it lifelink, it actually, like, you gain twice as much. This is really weird. White has some really freaking busted cards in this set. Like, we're talking Luminarch Aspirant. And... Felidar Retreat. And Tazri. And Emeria Captain, and I think Paratactician, Fearless Fledgling. White has some busted cards. This might be the best White has been in a very, very long time. So that's my first. Though the problem with White is that its commons are really freaking bad, which I did not. All right. I forgot about that. I have it divided into like playable and unplayable. Like cards you would always play on cards you probably wouldn't play. And you would play like all the rares, you would play almost all the uncommons. The problem with White is that the commons are bad. That is tough. You would basically you need to pair White with a color that has good commons. Pretty exciting cards to play with. Cards I'm going to lose to a lot. This card, I'm expecting it to be landfall, right? I'm expecting it to be like landfall, put a count on a creature, like, yeah, whatever. Like, no. And like, I'm also expecting this card to say another on it. I'm expecting it to say another, and I'm expecting it to say landfall, and it has neither of those. So I'm just, what? Yeah, I'm just gonna concede. Like, my opponent's gonna play this turn 2, I'm gonna look at my hand that doesn't have a terminate, I'm just like, yeah, I'm dead. But the thing is, once this thing is around, you just like put counters on other cards, right? So like, even if they kill this, you're like, okay, well, I put 3 counters on my other creatures, like... You're dead, like, and it's the beginning of combat, so it's like it has a come to play ability. It's not end of turn. I actually also expected this to say end of turn. Or upkeep. I expected this to say upkeep or end of turn. It says combat, which is the best possible. No, the card is just gonna run you over. Yeah, like I'm looking at like, this is white, what's the catch? Is it a mythic? No, it's even just a basic rare. Just like, wow, okay.